ScouterStan. Want to talk about all of the times that we hear leave a legacy and what that really means. Being a better scout leader this year is important, as in every year, not only for yourself, but for the scouts that you work with. You can only do this in a team leadership environment. Putting something together with the troop or the crew or the ship, it's very important that you work as a team. Now, we're going to talk about some of the leader opportunities that come up later in this podcast, and we'll discuss more about what can be done to really put this team together and give it some momentum. Understanding what it means to leave a legacy is a lot like paying it forward in scouting. There are 3 big parts to leaving a legacy, but always keep in mind that every scouting youth you work with gains something from you just being there. And that has a lot to do with mentoring and coaching and helping the youth succeed. But first, be the best leader you can be by being the best trained and the best informed leader. Make sure that all your certifications are up to date. Remember not to become burned out. Now, a while ago, I did a podcast about 5 things that you can do to prevent burnout. As scout leaders, we want to give it our all, but a lot of times that just leads to a burnout situation. We have to balance everything. And in that, the very third part of leaving a legacy is understanding if you're a long-haul leader or a short-term leader. The long-term leader is looking at the long game, generations of scouts that they're helping. This is admirable, but you have to have the dedication to do it. Short-term leaders are really working with their own youth within scouting. Totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They just are going to be working their way to the exit. So make sure that you have certain goals in mind that you want to progress with and that you want to help other scouts with, so that when that day comes and you're retiring from scouting, it can happen with no regrets. Now, in scouting, we do a lot of stuff for the youth. Most of the stuff that we talk about, we work on, is for the youth. We need to think a little bit about us as scout leaders. Are our needs being met? Are our concerns being addressed? That's the real key. It's very difficult to dedicate time to scouting if it's not appreciated. It's one of those things that it is a two-way leadership type of situation. That is really the biggest thing that a lot of adult leaders lose sight of. They work really hard. They dedicate time. They give up their own vacation, their paid vacation time, to go to summer camp or day camp or something like that. This is stuff that goes unrecognized, and that can be very wearing. It could be as if you're being taken advantage of, and you don't want that feeling. Most successful units come up with a system where they kind of reward the adult leadership. They not only make sure that they are getting recognized for all their dedication and all the time they're doing, but they also have events that they do that comes up for just the adult leaders. One of the great things that a unit can do is have these planning seminars for the adult leaders. Now, often this is just the scout-facing part of scouting. That is not a good mix. We need to get more involved with the parents and backstage. A lot of the times that scout-facing, scoutmasters, cubmasters, den leaders, assistant scoutmasters, those are scout-facing. And a lot of times they are excluded from a lot of the backstage stuff, whether it be troop committee, pack committee, treasury, all of those things. All the adults that make up a unit should be part of a planning seminar, and also get parents involved. That is a great way to start recruiting, because they see where something is needed and they can jump in and help. Now, some of the best units out there do this 4 times a year. The first one in the spring is what I call a unit leaders summit. This is usually during the day, like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's a time for you to talk about the schedule of the coming year. what summer camp you're going to, what day camp you're doing. Those are very important things for different units. You also need to talk about upcoming challenges to the leadership. Is there going to be a vacancy soon in a critical position? That is something that needs to be addressed. So this is kind of a serious meeting. And what's neat about it, you will start to see a lot of getting along as a team. And that's the key. You want that fellowship to develop as a team. The next big one is kind of fun. I call it the summer camp survival party. This is a party. It's in the summer. It's right after you come back from day camp or summer camp or some adventure or something like that. It depends on your unit. And it's really a time to get together and just have a laugh, talk about the stories that came up, something interesting that happened. Keep it light. It could be a potluck. It could be anything, as far as a party. But keep it light. Don't make it too serious. This is a way for adults and parents to address issues in a light situation and develop even more of that fellowship as a team. The next one in the fall is critical. And that's really when you start to recruit. I call it a recruiting retreat. Now, this can be done as a camp out, okay? It could also be done as a one-day thing. But it's really a way to get together and talk about the upcoming recruitment. And recruitment is not just schools. We're talking little leagues. We're talking other places where youth meet. Say it's a center, a youth center. That's a wonderful place. Also, think about all the churches that have schools, and maybe they would be willing to be a way of recruiting. Recruiting should be year-round. We've talked about it. But this is a chance in the fall to really concentrate on helping scouts join scouting. And when you do that, you're really helping the adults. You're talking directly to the parents. They are the ones that come in. They're the ones that you need to work with. They're the ones you need to have all this paperwork for. Okay? You got to have your schedules and all that stuff. That's really what they are looking for. A lot of times this turns into sort of a brainstorming event. It's really amazing how it can go. Having snacks around, that always helps. And it is just one of those things that a lot of leaders need to do. Now, when winter comes around, I call it the Christmas Leaders Party, okay? That is so important. You need to have a holiday party of some kind so that the leaders know that they're being appreciated. And this is just leaders. There's no youth there, okay? It's a party. Okay, it's totally fine to have a potluck. You could even make that into a camp out. You could do it at someone's home. It is all up to you. But the neat thing is that you get together and you really talk about the year that happened. That's the important part. And that is a wonderful way for fellowship during the time of the holidays to really talk about all of the fellowship that the team has given to the unit. And the unit will do better. Always do better if it works as a cohesive group of adult leaders can do just about anything. It's amazing what they can do. And the work that they put in for their youth is astounding. The success of their youth, the ones that are going to move on from Cub Scouts into a troop, the ones in a troop that might go into a crew, that's a possibility. So these are things that they can do. And it's amazing to me, all the work that adults like ourselves voluntarily put ourselves through. And we need to recognize that. We need to make sure that adults don't think for a second that they're being taken for granted. We want them to be appreciated, and we do appreciate them. We just need to let them know. So, and that's really the key to leaving a legacy, making sure that your team works together. That fellowship is so important. You got to have that. And that's true for the youth as much as it is for the adults. We're going to have other episodes about that. Keep up that good work. That is amazing, all the stuff that you're doing. And I truly do appreciate it. And like always, I will see you on the trail.